DESIblitz.com.
Dear Tony, I think it right that you should have the attached, and perhaps you'll find it an interesting, if painful, memento of long ago.
Well, I read the novel back in 2011, and I loved it, and I looked into it after Lunchbox, and I discovered that somebody was already adapting it, and I forgot about it because I like to write my own material. But then about a year or two after that, it came to me as an offer to direct. And I was very honored because, my love for the book, and I read it right away, and I thought Nick Payne, the screenwriter, had done some very ingenious things with it, and it was a very brave adaptation of a great novel. He had invented the camera shop, he had given Tony a daughter, Susie, his pregnant daughter, that's not in the book, and I met Nick, and I thought it was going to be a wonderful collaboration, so I really came to it for love of the novel and for love of the liberties that Nick had taken. I thought they were very nifty and very brave.
Veronica and I were together.
Boyfriend, girlfriend?
Exactly, yeah. Then in my school days, I met my best friend,
Tony Webster.
I'm Adrian Finn.
So, movies and books have to be cousins, not siblings, so they have to be, there's this push and pull between the movie and the book, and you have to find out how distant cousins you want to be through the process. And what the right amount of distance is, one never knows until they go through the whole process.
And I wrote them both a very nasty letter.
What do you think you'll find in the diary? This is horrible.
My best friend mysteriously died.
Who's to blame for this event?
Something is certainly going on.
What is it? What was going on?
Well, this story was, it's a very interesting casting puzzle to put together, because there's really seasoned and legendary actors like Jim Broadbent and Charlotte Rampling and Harriet Walter. There's also great actors like Michelle Dockery and Emily Mortimer, and then there's young actors who've never been in a movie before. So it's a very interesting tapestry. So it was really wonderful to sort of toggle between the world of the 60s and present day and work with, an interesting range of actors. It was really lovely.
Remembering isn't always what you actually witnessed. It was an accident.
Legally, yes. Morally, no.
So what were you doing there?
We may never know the truth.
Well, I don't know, I thought the Lunchbox was a pretty commercial Bollywood venture. I think it did very well in India. And, it traveled wide. And I think at one point we were on several hundred screens in India with that movie. I think 600 or something, which is a very big number of screens for a movie of that size. So I don't know, I think that anything that connects with an audience is commercial. It doesn't have to have songs in it to be commercial.
Are we going to address the fact that almost everything you've told me in the last few days, you've told me for the very first time?
Nick did all the heavy lifting. He wrote the screenplay, and then a director always gets involved, especially as we get closer to the shoot. And I suggested a lot of embellishments, and he was very generous to take them on and do something with them. But no, I would absolutely give him all the credit for the writing of it. Absolutely, because he's a screenwriter. At the same time, it's a director's medium. So while I think I have all the responsibility for it, I think he deserves much credit for it. Well, as the movie went, we were leaving for long periods of flashback. 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and then coming back into the present, and still, of course, wanting the audience to continue to be engaged in Tony's quest. It's a pretty amorphous quest, the wanting to know what's in the diary, or the sense of the search for the sense of ending or sense of closure. And as his quest becomes more involved, it became important to try to connect these worlds of past and present closer together, and also to make his quest more involved. So it was very interesting, I thought, for Tony to walk through the party, or to find himself in a car in the 60s, and because he's delving deeper and deeper into his own past. So I thought that was a very interesting sort of cinematic device to use.
How often do we tell our own life story? Do we adjust, embellish, make sly cuts, and create a new reality? And when everything was coming off the rails, how were we to know that our lives not entwined forever?